6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe, assisted by Chatura, and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. All public services will be decentralized. The Speaker endorses the certificate on the Electricity Amendment Bill. The US grants $120 million for Sri Lanka's economic growth. The Railway Department says fuel crisis has not affected train operations. Foreign Minister Peris briefs the President of the Human Rights Council on Sri Lankan issues. In foreign news, NATO Secretary General says they will continue to supply Ukraine with heavy weapons. Sports news, player auction of Sri Lanka Premier League commences. News in detail. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has pointed out decentralizing state services, including working from home, is a timely need. He said that a more efficient service can be provided by decentralizing services of departments of registration of persons, motor traffic, and other state institutions. During a discussion at the President's house today, the President pointed out the importance of linking the main institutions. The discussion took place on agriculture, food security, introducing new methods to enhance efficiency of public services, and on decentralizing state services at district and regional levels. It was disclosed that 40% of the harvest is destroyed during distribution. It was pointed out that a large quantity of food can be protected by paying special attention in this regard. The President said a fair price can be given to the farmers and customers by minimizing middlemen involved in the distribution of harvest. Attention was paid on the need for a renewable power generation drive to coincide with the cultivation drive. The US has granted a financial assistance of $120 million for Sri Lanka's economic growth and development. The grant has been given by the US International Development Financial Corporation. Meanwhile, the Foreign Relations Committee of the US Senate has requested the Quad member countries to do more to mitigate local political and economic crisis. The organization is consisted of US, Japan, India and Australia. It has said that priority should be given for humanitarian assistance. The US Senate Committee has also appreciated India giving humanitarian assistance to Sri Lanka. Railway Deputy General Manager Gamini Senaratne says that fuel crisis has not affected train operations. He said that Railway Department has sufficient quantity of fuel stocks. 2 more trains have been added to the Kalani Valley and main railway lines. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Minister of Foreign Affairs Professor G.L. Peris held meetings with the President of the Human Rights Council, the coordinator of the Non-Aligned Movement Geneva chapter, and the permanent representative of Brazil in Geneva Tuesday on the sidelines of the 50th session of the HRC. During the meeting with the President of the Human Rights Council, the permanent representative of Argentina, Federico Villegas, the foreign minister briefed on the current socio-economic situation in Sri Lanka and the need for empathy and understanding of the international community. While stressing the need for space for the country to deal with the present socio-economic issues, he reiterated the political will and resolve to deal with obligations and move ahead. Sri Lankan Airlines today clarified the reports currently in circulation on media about flight UL 504 avoiding a possible mid-air collision with another aircraft. The national carrier confirmed that its pilots operating UL 504, which departed from London to Colombo on Monday, managed safely steer the flight without an accident. Contrary to news reports, Sri Lankan assured that UL 504 was not at risk of a mid-air collision with another aircraft at any point. The Committee on Public Accounts held recently drew special attention to the quantity of ethanol imported for use in Sri Lanka and the lack of proper regulation of importing institutions. The Import and Export Control Department officials were instructed to submit a report to the committee within 2 weeks containing the procedure for issuing licenses for the importation of ethanol into the country by various companies. The committee also noted the lack of standardized computer system to carry out the activities of the Department of Import and Export Control. Furthermore, the committee inquired into the issuance of licenses for the importation of vehicles and spare parts to Sri Lanka. Although it had previously instructed to take the necessary steps to formulate a proper procedure in coordination with the Department of Motor Traffic, the committee expressed its displeasure that no action had been taken in this regard. In addition, it was further requested that a suitable methodology be prepared to maintain the relevant activities in a more efficient and transparent manner and submit to the committee within a period of 4 months. Special attention to the proposed Animal Welfare Bill, with the support of the government as well as NGOs and animal welfare groups under a lengthy consultation process, was given at the Ministerial Consultative Committee on Agriculture held recently under the chairmanship of Minister of Agriculture, Wildlife and Forest Resources Conservation, Mahinda Amaravira. The main purpose of this act is to show kindness, compassion and due diligence to animals and to ensure the protection, welfare and well-being of animals and to protect them from cruelty. UNFPA, with support from the government of China, has provided essential medical equipment and supplies to adequately equip public health staff who has been actively working at the grassroots level. A total of 328,660 packs of supplies worth $800 million were handed over to the Family Health Bureau through the Ministry of Health today. The initiative aims to ensure frontline health workers in Sri Lanka have adequate means to safely respond to patients during public health emergencies. 191 Sri Lankans who have signed agreements for employment have left for South Korea. Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau said that they are the 719th group who left for Korea. Plans have been drawn up to send 5,800 Sri Lankans for Korean jobs within next 6 months. Attention was paid in this regard during a recent discussion between Minister Manusha Nanayakkara and the resident representative of Korean Human Rights Department, Lee Chu-yoi. The 720th batch consisted of 186 scheduled to leave for Korea on the 20th. Fees for evaluating answer script will be revised. The Department of Examinations said it has decided to revise the fees that will be paid for evaluation of answer scripts. Commissioner General of Examinations LMD Dharmasena said the decision was taken by taking into account the prevailing fuel and transport difficulties. The demands put forward during a discussion with the Education Minister and trade unions have also been considered. The Leader of the House, Minister Dinesh Gunawardene, says that the final report of the Special Committee on Electoral Changes will be submitted to the Parliament next week. He mentioned this when the committee met today at the Parliament complex. The Minister is also the chairman of the committee. A ceremony to welcome senior journalist Hudson Samarasinghe, who was reappointed as the chairman of the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, took place today at the Kumaratunga studio of the corporation. He was appointed for the 6th time as the chairman of the SLBC. The ceremony was organized by the Joint Trade Union Alliance. Speaking on the occasion, the chairman said his aim is to ensure job security of the employees. He pointed out the importance of producing programs by understanding needs of the listeners. The chairman emphasized that the commitment of all employees is essential for the progress of the national radio.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene today endorsed the certificate on the Electricity Amendment Bill to amend the Electricity Act No. 20 of 2009. The bill was passed with a majority vote without amendments in Parliament on the 9th of June. This qualifies a person to apply for a power generation license to generate electricity. Accordingly, the Electricity Amendment Act will be incorporated into the legal system of Sri Lanka from today.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Watchlight, National Water Supply and Drainage Board says water supply for parts of Kampa will be interrupted today for 16 hours. Accordingly, the water cut was imposed at 2 p.m. and will continue until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Kampa Municipality, Miniswatta Junction to Aludgama area, adjacent to Bogamua Church Road on Colombo Kandy Main Road, is affected by the 16-hour water cut. Moving on to Bulletin of World News, in the headlines, NATO Secretary General says they will continue to supply Ukraine with heavy weapons. China's strict COVID policy casts shadow on economic recovery. Netflix is recruiting participants for the reality TV show inspired by Squid Game. World News in detail. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg told reporters ahead of a NATO summit in Brussels, Ukraine is in a critical situation, so there is an urgent need for support. Stoltenberg says members of the alliance will continue to supply Ukraine with heavy weapons and long-range systems, and he expects a new package of assistance to Kyiv to be agreed at the summit. He said they are extremely focused on stepping up support. Key economic indicators show that China's zero-COVID policy continued to weigh heavily on both consumption and production in the country in May. The National Bureau of Statistics say China's retail sales last month fell 6.7% from a year earlier, marking a decrease for the third straight month. The shrinkage in retail sales is smaller than in April, but the result exposed the impact of China's strict anti-coronavirus measures on the economy. Netflix is recruiting participants for a reality TV show inspired by its most popular series of all time, Squid Game. However, it will not be life or death that is at stake, as depicted in the South Korean dystopian drama. Instead, 456 recruits from around the world will play games where the worst fate is going home empty-handed, missing out on a $4.56 million prize. Netflix also confirmed that the popular series will be renewed for a second season earlier this week. Back to the headlines of the world news. NATO Secretary General says they will continue to supply Ukraine with heavy weapons. China's strict COVID policy casts shadow on economic recovery. Netflix is recruiting participants for a reality TV show inspired by Squid Game. And that ends World News. Up next is Development News. Haley's Aventura has introduced Eco1, an innovative product developed in the USA to help manufacturers mitigate pollution caused by the disposal of plastics, polythene and rubber. The organic additive, which is applied during the production process, enhances the biodegradation of plastic and polythene products. This drastically shortens the time span such products are retained in landfills from centuries to few years. And that was Development News.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
In sports news, player auction of Sri Lanka Premier League has commenced. Sri Lanka Cricket says players who have registered for the series will be categorized under several groups. Registrations will take place until the 23rd. The series will be played from 31st of next month to the 21st of August. The first half of the series will be played at the R. Premdasa Stadium in Colombo, while the second half will be played at Suryawaba International Stadium. And that is sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Hambantota International Port recently handled the largest shipment of a 2022 to date MV Glovis Champion, carrying 8,147 vehicles and 18 high and heavy vehicles called at the port last week, and the port completed the operation within 28 hours. The high efficiency and productivity was achieved as a result of HIP's skilled workforce and smart use of technology.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Local DocuSign Integrated Bridge Advisory and Consulting said they will be launching Sri Lanka's first regulated crypto exchange within the port city in the coming 3-month period. They claim to have communicated with the Securities and Exchange Commission alongside the Central Bank to create regulatory framework.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
In the weather report, the Met Department says showery condition over the coastal areas of southwestern part of the island is expected to slightly enhance during the next few days. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the northern, north central, eastern, central and Uva provinces during the afternoon or night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in these areas. Several spells of showers will occur in northwestern province. That was the weather report, and to bring to an end this news broadcast, the headlines. All public services will be decentralized. The Speaker endorses the certificate on the Electricity Amendment Bill. The US grants $120 million for Sri Lanka's economic growth. The Railway Department says fuel crisis has not affected train operations. Foreign Minister Peiris briefs the President of the Human Rights Council on Sri Lankan issues. Foreign news, NATO Secretary General says they will continue to supply Ukraine with heavy weapons. Sports player auction of Sri Lanka Premier League commences. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.